Hello everyone, my name is Loraine Kay and I'm sorry I can't be with you in person, but I'm actually going to be on holiday at the time that I was asked to make this testament, so I agreed that I would do it on a recording. So for those of you who've heard this before, I'm sorry about that, but this is something that happened to me and it was such an enormous event in my life that I have to share it again. So my name's Loraine Kay, I'm 60-year-old, I'm from Sunderland, and I live with my husband and my daughter Louisa, who is 22. I also have a son Jordan, who is 34, but he actually has his own place and doesn't live with us, although he does tend to drop in at meal times, but you know, I think they all do that. So my story starts in really January of 2016 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was a horrible shock. It was devastating for the whole family, and it was frightening, it was scary, it was everything. And if anybody who's had cancer or has cancer will know, it's very distressing and life-changing. So the whole family obviously were upset, I was upset, but you know, I got on with the treatment, got through it, and came out of it the other end almost a year later. Then got on with my life as best I could. In fact, life really went back to normal, I would say. You know, everything was fine, and then 4 years after that, in January 2020, I was diagnosed with secondary breast cancer. This time it was in the bones. I'd had a really painful hip, really painful to the extent that I was limping, and I went to the GP and the GP said, you need to go for an x-ray. And so to cut a long story short, after various scans, CT, MRI, bone scans and x-rays, I was diagnosed with secondary breast cancer that had spread to the bones. The worst part of the news was that there isn't a cure for it. It can be treated, it can be managed, but it can't be cured. So for me it was just a huge shock. I was devastated. It was awful. I felt I was too young to die. I didn't want to leave my friends and my family. I was terrified. I couldn't function, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. All I could think about was leaving these people behind who needed me. But it was something I couldn't do anything about, and I had to get on with it. So with the help of my GP and some antidepressants, I did get on with it, and I've been on various medications. So what happened to me was I started to feel resentful. I was terrified, I was worried, and I was quite resentful about why had this happened to me for a second time. Why was I having to go through all this again with no outcome, no good outcome at all to it. And I lost my faith. I almost lost my faith until one night in bed, and I was asleep, and all I could hear was a voice telling me to read Deuteronomy over and over again. Deuteronomy, Deuteronomy. When I woke up the next morning, I absolutely couldn't wait to get the Bible and read Deuteronomy. And for those of you who know Deuteronomy, you'll know it's about Moses in the wilderness. And while he was away, his people were worshipping false idols, and they'd made a golden calf and they were worshipping that, and God was quite angry. But he said to Moses, if you can bring your people back to me where they worship one God only, and that is me, I will deliver my promise to you for the promised land. Now I read this and immediately I got a message. I got this message loud and clear. And the message was, stay with me and I'll stay with you. And the peace and the contentment that I felt after that was just indescribable, absolutely indescribable. And I know now that if I don't get the miracle that I'd really love, I have been given the strength. I've been given the strength to cope, to live my life as normal, to carry on as normal, to do all of the things I want to do while I can. And I know God has given me and my family the strength to do that. And then a few weeks later, I'd been to a football match with my husband. We both have a season ticket for Sunderland, and this particular night Sunderland had won 5-0, and it was absolutely like amazing. You know, this is something that never happens at Sunderland. It was a total one-off, and we were really happy and high as kites. And you know, we came home and we went to bed, and I couldn't sleep. I was still too, you know, wound up and hyped up by the result. My husband went to sleep. He was snoring. I put the TV on for a little while in the bedroom. I read a book. I made a cup of tea. I ate some chocolate, as you do. And I still was wide awake, absolutely wide awake. So I turned everything off and I lay down, and I looked up, I lay on my back and I looked up at the ceiling, and suddenly all of these blue and white lights were there on the ceiling, moving around very slowly, very fluidly, and muted, beautiful blue and white light, like a fairy light but more muted, all over the ceiling and moving around and coming a little way down the walls. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So I rubbed my eyes and, am I awake? Is this a dream? But no, I was wide awake. I was wide awake. And I believe I had divine intervention. I had a sign again from Jesus. I've been told probably it was Our Lady, but again, the peace I felt was just enormous, absolutely enormous, life-changing. Shortly after that, a few weeks later, I dreamed that a blue and white pair of wings wrapped around in that shape were coming down towards me, and I knew that these wings were going to envelop me and hug me, but I couldn't see how I was going to fit into them because they looked so small. But as they came towards us, obviously they got bigger and bigger, and then suddenly I was engulfed in this big warm hug of blue and white from the top of my head to my feet. It was just unbelievable, unbelievable. So I feel as if I've had 3 visits, and I've been given the strength to carry on with my life. And although I don't know how long I've got, no one knows, no one can say. And really, I don't want to know. You know, I couldn't live like that. But as long as I'm well, and as long as I've got the strength and I've got the peace of mind, I'm absolutely fine. Thank you.